Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Tonight we are excited to have with us Nick from Just You Tours. And my name is Leah. I'm with Go Travel here in Edson, Alberta, but I have clients all across Canada. And during this time of self-isolation and just staying home, we are enjoying traveling virtually. And so thank you again for joining us. It's exciting to not totally give up on our travel dreams, but be able to do it virtually still and continue to add destinations and new places to our bucket list. So let's hand it over to Nick, who's going to take us through a number of tours that Just You offers. And I love their concept of how you can be a solo traveler, but yet not travel alone. So they have a great way of, I guess, kind of not holding your hand necessarily, because you get a lot of independent time when you go with Just You, but you are going with like-minded travelers, so it's great. So Nick, I will pass it over to you. Take it away.
All right, thank you, Leah. So as Leah mentioned, my name is Nick Roberti. I'm the National Sales Manager for Just You, and I'll tell you a little bit about our company, some of our history, basically what to expect on any single tour that we operate, and really where we go and what we do all around the world. So I know right now is a tough time with everybody staying at home and the borders are closed and we're unable to travel, but this is the perfect time to dream of new adventures. Think about different ways you want to travel. Maybe it's going on a cruise, like a river cruise, or going on an island hopping in Croatia. Maybe it's hiking in Italy. Maybe it's a food and wine tour. Who knows what it is, but now's the perfect time to open your mind and continue adding to your bucket list and think about what your next trip is going to be. So hopefully I can inspire you and give you some ideas so you can take some pointers away and start thinking about where you want to go next. So I decided to call this presentation Solo Adventures Together. One, because that's our tagline, and two, because this word adventure is becoming a lot more popular in the travel industry. And when I'm trying to define the word adventure, I can't really come up with a true definition, because what I'm realizing is adventure it means something different to everybody. And for a lot of people, you know, an adventure could be going all the way into Morocco and seeing the ruins in Egypt all on your own, or it could just be putting your mask and gloves on and going to the grocery store, because these days that's an adventure in itself. So really an adventure, what does it mean to you? And I asked that question, and usually I'm doing the presentation like this in front of a group of people, and it's always a different answer. And we always hear something completely different, because the word adventure means something different to everybody. And a lot of people might remember this, which is their first adventure, and you're a child, you're in grade 1, and you're packing up your bags, you know, you're going on your first field trip with your classmates to the local museum or whatever it is. And you're so excited because that's the first adventure you're going on. Or it could be this, and maybe this is what an adventure is. And you're climbing the rock face without any ropes, and you're doing all these crazy adventures, or hiking across Antarctica. Maybe you're that type of person, and that's what an adventure means to you. But ultimately, it's something personal, and an adventure is really what you want it to be. So what's an adventure to Just You? This is exactly what it is. So for us as a company, this is a group of travelers with us. You can see me. I don't think I have a pointer on my screen, but you can see me with my head kind of popping out there. In the group towards the middle to the right, but this is a group of travelers with us. Last year we went on a tour in Tuscany together, and what an adventure is to us is bringing a group of like-minded travelers from around the world, solo travelers that are traveling on their own, going to a brand new destination to experience it with like-minded people, make new friends, create new memories, and really just create these friendships and memories that last for a lifetime. So that's really what an adventure is to us. And our mission statement, we have offices in the UK as well as in Toronto. And this is our brand statement when you go into our office: to change lives through travel. And this is honestly why I'm in the business. There's a lot of reasons why people are in this business, because you get to go to all these amazing places and you get to travel and you get to experience this stuff. But for me, there's nothing like talking to a traveler who's been on a tour, somebody who was scared to go all on their own to a place like Egypt or even Europe, if that's it. But somebody who was a little bit worried to pack their bags and leave their house on their own and go to a new destination, all because they didn't have a travel companion to go with. Maybe their companion wanted to stay home, or they wanted to go to a different destination, or whatever it might be. Maybe they didn't have a companion, but it's a daunting experience for someone to pack their bags and go to a whole new foreign country by themselves. But the reason why we're in business is because of those stories when people come back and how that experience really changed their life, and they realize that there's so many things they can do out there and so many experiences that they can take in by traveling the world solo. So I'm going to skip through this video because last time I tried it, it didn't work. But it's ultimately, I just covered what the video was sharing, basically saying that it's stories from some of our travelers who wanted to go overseas and were a little bit worried at first, but they went overseas and they had an experience of a lifetime and they keep coming back. Actually, our business has a return rate of 2 out of 3 travelers, which is a really high number. And I think it's because people go on these tours, they make so many friends, and they have such a great experience and learn about themselves while they're traveling on their own, that they want to continue going. So the presentation that I have today, this is the agenda. So I'll talk a little bit about who we are and what our business is, and what we offer. Why are we the specialists in solo travel? I'll talk about our demographics and who you might meet on our tours and what kind of people you'll be traveling with, and the kind of characteristics about them, so you can see if you would fit in along with our group and what they like to do. Frequently asked questions, so hopefully I can answer some of your questions. And then a product breakdown. So we'll go through some of our different travel styles and destinations that we go to. So a little bit about who we are. We've been in business for over 15 years in the UK. So that's where our head office is. That's where we started. And we've won the Solo Travel Award many times in the UK. And our company was acquired by a guy named Bruce Poon-Tip, who's also the founder and owner of G Adventures. When I say G Adventures, more people understand that name because it's a great adventure company and they're Canadian owned, but they're globally known. So a lot more people know G Adventures than just you, and that's just because we launched in Canada in 2017 and we're still fairly new in the Canadian market. But it's nice to have that history behind us, knowing that we've been in business and successful for over 15 years in England, and it's a household name over there. So what do we offer? We offer group tours, so escorted guided tours, but everybody on our tour is a solo traveler. So if there's 3 things you remember about my presentation and you forget absolutely everything else, it's that everybody on our tour is a solo traveler. So they have gone there on their own and they're wanting to make new friends. Everybody gets their own room every night, so we don't ask you to share with anybody, and we don't charge any single supplements. So that goes across the board for every single tour, no single supplements. You don't have to pay extra to get your own room, and you're with like-minded travelers. And a lot of that stuff is really what separates us from your classic tour operator. So when it comes to who our competitors are, really right now in the Canadian market, there is no other tour operator that is focusing exclusively on guided experiences for solo travelers. So what really makes us the solo travel specialist? So the itineraries are designed for the solo traveler. So when you're on this tour, it's all come and go as you please. We have this beautiful itinerary that we create with hotels and restaurants and sightseeing and all these different things that we put together, and that's what you're buying. But if you don't want to do something one day, you can veer off and go and do your own thing. We know solo travelers like to do their own thing and not be stuck to an itinerary. So you're more than welcome to go ahead and do that. We also have a lot of family style dinners. We know everybody has come to this new country and to this new tour by themselves. So when we have meals, a lot of the times it's a big plate, a big table with all sharing plates, and you pass the food, you pass the wine, you're making new friends, you're meeting new people. And we create that social inclusive atmosphere because we know everybody's gone there completely on their own. Our tour managers are really important to have on a guided tour with you. They're very knowledgeable people, and it's really nice to have a tour manager that has been guiding solo tours for years and years. The camaraderie of like-minded travelers, that's really the glue that holds our whole tour together. Being with other solo travelers, you're not going to be like an apple in an orange field. I don't even know how oranges grow. I don't know where I came up with that whole thing. Is it a field? I don't know. But you're not going to be sticking out from the crowd is what I'm trying to say. It's a tour of solo travelers just like you on an itinerary that's built for the solo traveler. We create and foster that fun, inclusive atmosphere so everybody has the opportunity to make new friends, meet new people, and experience these new destinations with like-minded travelers. And of course, no single supplements. And it's hard to hear you and your results right now virtually, but whenever I say no single supplements in front of a crowd, sometimes people cheer. They get so excited. People are sick and tired of having to pay a penalty because they travel on their own. So we've taken the single supplement out of every single tour that we offer. The demographics, so who would you find on a tour? Most of our travelers are 45 plus. We accept everybody 18 plus, but it just so happens 45 plus is the type of people that come on our tours. We're not a dating service. Always have to say that we're a solo travel company, not single travel. So 20% of our clientele is married. We have a lot of people who have a spouse, maybe that's at home or has a new destination that they wanted to go to. It's not a hookup service or anything like that. It's really meant for people to make new friends and just travel with like-minded people. Majority of our travelers are female. And when we did a survey of our travelers, to learn a little bit more about their behaviors and what they like to do and some of the things that tap into their emotions. The four main things that came back is that they're adventurous. Of course, they're adventurous. They're going to a brand new destination on their own. They're foodies. They love food. They love wine. They love to experience the culture in a destination. They're educated. A lot of them have post-secondary degrees or they're interested in the history of that. And they're outgoing. So they're wanting to make new friends. They know that of course they're outgoing. They're going to a new country completely by themselves and they want to experience that culture with like-minded people and make new friends along the way. A little bit of extra information. Everybody is 18 plus. Everybody 18 plus is invited on the tour. So single, married, male, female, it doesn't matter. If you're 18, you can come on a tour with us. 20% of our clientele is married. Group size, I think group size is pretty important, especially thinking of a post-COVID era where we're going to have to socially distance when we're on tours. Our largest group is 40 passengers. I'll be honest with you, I think that is going to be we have 2 tours that are 40 passengers. I think they're going to be taken down to deal with the social distancing on tours. But on our average tour with us, it's 20 to 25 people. So it's still a pretty small group. It's not your big 50, 55 person motor coaches. So you're with a tight knit group on the excursions. Breakfast is always included on every single tour. It depends on the itinerary. Sometimes we include dinners. Sometimes we include lunches. Some of our tours are all inclusive, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and your drinks. It really just depends on the itinerary that's right for you. But on every single tour, breakfast is included, so you don't have to worry about waking up and finding something to eat before the day starts. Some extra perks. All of our departures are guaranteed. So that means if we say that this date is going to go, there's no minimum number. So a lot of companies out there, they'll offer a date, but they have to hit a certain number of people for them to run that tour. We'll run that tour even if there's 1 or 2 people booked on it. So you can book with us in confidence. We have a great loyalty program. So when you come back from a tour, you can save money on the next one. Small group sizes, like I mentioned. Protected deposits. So that means this is actually really good. And it's come in handy for almost all of our travelers who booked a deposit with us, who booked a tour with us, and then the borders closed. Because we don't just keep your money. We keep that money on file for 2 years, so you can use that against another tour in the future. So you don't, people cancel for whatever reasons. I've heard everything from I'm having a bad hair day to my cat is sick and I don't want to go to Italy anymore, and people cancel their trips. So just know that your deposit is protected with us and you don't lose your money when you cancel. And we offer a multi-booking discount. So if you're booking 2 or 3 trips at once, you get an even better discount there. We'll go through some frequently asked questions before we get into some of our products. So do I get to dine with others? Absolutely. A lot of our meals are included and you're with the group and eating on those tours. But sometimes, like for example, we decided to remove the lunch when we're in Venice in Italy. And the reason we did that is because we're on the island, and there's a ton of markets and a ton of different places that people want to go and eat, and they want to be free to go and choose whatever they want to eat that day. So we removed that meal. But ultimately, what we find is our travelers still will eat together. So our tour manager will be booking a reservation for 5 people, maybe 10 people, however many people, but chances are you won't be eating on your own. Can I do my own thing away from the group? Of course, you're free to leave the group and veer off and do your own thing at any time. Are there any hidden costs? So with no single supplements, taxes are included in the pricing. The only hidden cost I would say that exists would be the gratuities for your tour guide. If you feel they did a great job and you want to give them a tip, then that's just additional, but everything else would be included. Can anybody travel with us? Anybody 18 plus, male, female, married, single, it really doesn't matter. We accept everybody on a tour. Can I stay longer, or can I join another tour? So a lot of times if people are wanting to fly to Africa, they can go to Africa, but that's a long flight and you might want to get used to the time zone when you get there. So if you want to stay for a few nights beforehand, we can book you into that same hotel and have you stay there for a few nights, and then your tour will start maybe on your 3rd day of your trip. If you wanted to stay longer, maybe you had family in South Africa that you wanted to go and visit, or in Italy or wherever, you can stay longer and we can book you those hotels as well. You can also join another tour. So if you're looking at our catalog of product, if you want to do a tour in France, let's say it's a 7-day tour in France, once you're done that tour, if you want to join the 7-day tour in Germany after, and then you can join that tour as well and just find your transportation between the tours. So we have a bunch of different tour styles, something that really can suit anybody, everything from your classic motor coach tour to a high-speed train ride to a hiking excursion to a 3-day trip in London, England. So it's a really wide range of experiences, which I'll take you through now. So our classic touring, this would be like going region to region or city to city with a motor coach. So you're going to Prague for 2 nights, to Vienna for 3 nights, and then to Budapest for 3 nights. So you're staying in multiple hotels and you're seeing a few different cities or a few different regions. And then we have a leisurely touring. This is our most popular travel style, where we're staying in 1 or 2 hotels, and then every day we're doing day trips from there. So generally it's 1 country, but you're seeing a lot of that country while you're staying in 1 hotel. So if you were someone who liked cruising, this would probably be the product that I'd recommend to you out of our lineup. Because you unpack once, and we stay in centrally located hotels. You have restaurants, you've got bars, and you've got entertainment, you've got all that kind of stuff around you if you wanted to go and do that as well. Relax and Discover is a unique line. This is where we stay in the beautiful resorts in the sun. So if a lot of these tours we have in southern Spain, southern Portugal, we have some in South Africa, where you're close to a beach or you're close to a body of water of some sort, and we do tours every other day. So those days off, you can hang out by the beach, hang out by the resort. Some of these tours are all inclusive, but it's really a good balance between exploring a new city and relaxing by the beach. And then we've got short breaks. So these are 3 to 5 nights, a quick spotlight on 1 city. I did the New York City tour a couple of years ago, which was 3 nights. We stayed right downtown in Times Square. And in those 3 days, we did everything. We did Grand Central Station, Penn Station. We did a cruise of the Statue of Liberty. We went through a walk through Central Park. We did the 9/11 Memorial. We did the Empire State Building. We did a Broadway show, like literally everything you can think of in New York City packed into 3 days. And that is really what the short break is about, 3 to 5 nights, and you really get a full grasp of a major city. Then we do active tours. So this would be like walking the Camino de Santiago, or doing a hiking tour through Crete or through Greece or through Italy. A lot of our active tours we have in Asia as well. And this is more for your adventurous traveler who's looking to do a hike every day for 7 days, whether it's 5 kilometers, 15 or 20. It really depends on the exact tour. And we do cruising. And when we do cruising, it's not the big ocean cruises that you're thinking of. For us, cruising is a 17-passenger small ship cruising the islands of Croatia, or cruising the islands of Greece, or it's a small river cruise that goes down the Danube through Budapest or through Germany on the Rhine. Or we also have the Nile. We have a Nile River cruise, and we have a Yangtze cruise in China as well. So now I'll take you through basically the day-to-day of what a tour looks like. This is our #1 selling tour. It's Highlights of Tuscany. I had the pleasure of doing this tour last year in July. So it was really hot at that time in Italy, but I'm glad I went there before the whole coronavirus pandemic because I'm Italian and I'd never been to Italy. So when I got the chance to go, I was really excited and I had a great time. But this tour is part of our leisurely package. So we stay in one hotel the entire time. It's in Montecatini Terme, which is a really quaint little town. But it's also they've also got a lot of things going on. So we would come back there at the end of our day. And one night we went to an opera in Italy. I guess they just have operas in the streets whenever they want. We got to go visit a museum. There's a gondola that goes up to the top of the mountain and you can see the entire town. So there's a lot of things to do in this town when you have free time. But it was really nice to stay there and then be centrally located from all the major cities so you don't have a long bus ride in the mornings. They're about an hour maximum to get from there to Siena or Florence or Pisa. So this tour, it's a 7-day tour, or it's an 8-day tour, so you're there for 7 nights. The hotel we stayed at, it's called the Grand Hotel Temerici and Principe. It's a beautiful family-run hotel. We like to stay in family-run or locally owned hotels, so we're supporting those towns and businesses when we travel. Tourism is such a big wealth distributor, and we're able to share our money from Canada with different countries, and we always like to support those local communities. So we stay at this family-run hotel, and I still remember the owner. His name was Eugenio, and his son is Luigi. And these guys were amazing. Like, they have a beautiful pool. They came out and they were saying hi to everyone. The owner went and shook everybody's hand at the hotel who was staying there. It was just such a nice experience, and that true Italian experience that you want in a little small town in Italy. So the first day of touring, we went to Florence. So this day we got on our coach at around 8 o'clock in the morning, and we got to the Duomo, which is the big church you see there in the middle. We got there for about 9, and we met up with our local guide. So our local guide took us around the building, gave us a great history lesson on the Duomo and how it was built. And then we walked around the museum, so we were able to see the statue outside, the Statue of David. The real Statue of David is inside, but you see a replica that looks the exact same from outside, so nobody really wanted to go inside anyways that day. So we got to see the fake Statue of David out front. I think there was one person that wanted to go in, so she went in. But we went to the square, the town square, where we learned about a sport that originated in Florence. It's called calcio. Forgot the full name, but it's a sport that's been going on for hundreds of years, and it's very aggressive, and it's a pretty rough sport, but the people of Florence are so proud that this is their sport, and they play it, and they play it once a year. There's one big tournament, and the whole city will come out and watch it. It's a really dirty sport to watch, but the people of Florence themselves are so proud to be from Florence. They love the food there, they love the culture, they love the sport. And if you meet somebody from Florence in Toronto or in Edmonton or in Vancouver and you ask where they're from, they say they're from Florence. They don't say they're Italian. They're just really proud to be from Florence. So anyways, our group walked from the Duomo all the way down to this river that you can see there at the bottom. And down along the river, we walked up the river right where you can see there. We were walking all along that to the Ponte Vecchio, which is a historical bridge right at the end. And I know Shakespeare has done some stuff, written about the Ponte Vecchio before, and it's now a big place for art and jewelry. So a great place to see some of the local art if you want to buy some, or if you see some of the jewelry there. And it's a real good entrance into the fashion district. So you get to the Ponte Vecchio bridge, and then once you cross over it, you're basically in the fashion district. And what is Florence known for? They're known for leather. So I was on this tour with 20 women, and it was just myself, and I just so happened to be the only Italian speaker as well. So every woman wanted to buy either leather gloves or a purse. So we went and I bargained for every single one of them in the leather markets, and everybody got a purse from Florence to go home with for like 10 Canadian dollars. But these are just the little memories that we remember because this was day one. And, you know, after just meeting these people, we already clicked right away and we had these friendships formed, and I was, you know, more than happy to go and negotiate, and we had such a fun time. This Italian guy was yelling at me because he thought I had all these different wives that I was coming up to him with and trying to buy them purses and stuff. But these are just the memories that we remember. And then we had the afternoon free to roam around, go shopping, and really do whatever we wanted in the city of Florence before we made our way back to the town. The next excursion we went on was to Siena. This was definitely my favorite city in all of Italy. I loved it here. It's really what you imagine when you think of medieval Italy. It doesn't feel like you've crossed over the ocean. It feels like you went back in time. You can kind of see it in this picture. But what they're known for is a palio horse race, it's called. And you see the town square in the picture. What they do, it's twice a year. It's June 2nd, and I think there's one in August. And basically, it's a big horse race. So the entire town will come out and stand in the square, and then the wealthier people will watch from the balconies, and horses race around the town square. But the horses don't have saddles. It's all bareback horses. And every horse represents a corner, almost like a block or a street block in the town. So if you live in that town and you live in this street corner, you're supporting that horse. And they're so passionate about it. If you win, you have a big celebration. It's a 48-hour party if your street corner wins. You see all the flags everywhere. Everyone is having such a great time. We were actually there on July 3rd, a day after the race. So we missed the race, but we got to see the parties, which was kind of fun. But Siena was really cool. It's exactly what you think of when you think of old Italy, with cobblestone, narrow roads. The Church of St. Catherine in the back was one of the most beautiful churches I've ever seen. That stuck out to me because I live in Toronto. I'm in Toronto right now, and about an hour and a half away, we have a town called St. Catharines. And it's a big town, and I know people that grew up there, but to go to the actual church that houses the skull of St. Catharines was amazing, because we have an entire town with a population named after the saint, and I actually got to see her with my own eyes. But that just goes to show what Italy is all about. And then finally, our last excursion of the trip was in Pisa. And Pisa is a lot more than the Leaning Tower. We got to Pisa and we met up with our local guide. On our tours, we always use the best local guides that we can find. And we were there on a Saturday, and our local guide had said that on Thursday, she just finished her personal tour for Elton John. So she took Elton John all around Italy and showed him all the sights and gave all of her knowledge about Italy to Elton John, which was funny because I was there and I wanted to learn about the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but everybody else in the group was asking about Elton John and what was he like, and did you make friends, and seeing pictures of the tour guide and Elton John. But Pisa was amazing. It was a really cool place. We all took our photos standing in front of it, learning about all the buildings surrounding the Leaning Tower. We had the afternoon free. We went to go have a nice big pizza, pasta, a couple bottles of wine, because wine is cheaper than water in Italy. But we had a great time in Pisa, and I'll never forget that day with our travelers. Then we came back to Montecatini for the rest of the evening. So that was basically what it's like on a day-to-day tour with Italy. That one was part of our leisurely touring, where you're doing a tour every other day. We had some optional excursions. We went to San Gimignano, we went to Volterra, we went to a place called Lucca, where we went to a winery. We picked the olives off of the olive tree, made our own olive oil, and then we got to make our own pasta with a traditional Italian nonna, like an Italian grandma. She showed us how to make pasta. We made it, we cooked it, and we paired it with a wine from their winery. And you really can't get more Italian than that. It was just such a great experience. And now I know how to make homemade pasta. It comes in handy during self-isolation. Another tour, so I know I've been talking a lot about Italy and a lot about European destinations, but we go to 6 continents. We go to Africa, Asia, South America, North America, basically everywhere except for Antarctica. Another tour that I had had the pleasure of experiencing was our South Africa tour, which I did in September. And South Africa easily became my #1 country that I've ever visited. I've got to go on a lot of tours. I've been blessed to travel around the world with this company, but South Africa has a place in my heart. We flew into Johannesburg, which is a great, gives you a great history lesson. It's Nelson Mandela's city, so we got to visit Nelson Mandela's house and visit Soweto, which was the township he grew up in, and learn all about the apartheid, which is history, but it's recent history, which kind of blew my mind. And that was a great experience. And then from there, we went to Kruger National Park, where we saw hyenas, lions, we saw elephants, we saw rhinos, we saw all the animals, leopards, everything you can think of for 3 days while we stayed in a tented lodge. You wake up in the morning, you're having your morning coffee, and there's elephants and giraffes drinking out of the pond in front of you. I was just blown away with South Africa. And then from there, we flew to Cape Town, which was a crazy city. You'd have Table Mountain, you would take the gondola to the top and you see all of the views. They've got the Malay Quarter, which has a Moroccan vibe to it. Great food. They have coastal mountains. They've got beaches. They've got fishing. They have a nightlife. They have markets. It's just one of the most amazing cities I've ever seen, was Cape Town. We also do tours in Nepal. This is a new tour of ours, where we do a lot of home hosted stays. Like I mentioned before, we like to really immerse ourselves in culture and support the local families and local restaurants. So on this tour, we actually have a home hosted dinner and we stay with a traditional Nepalese family and learn all about weaving, which is one of their traditions that keeps their economy sustained. So we all get to weave our own souvenirs and bring that home with us. We also do Jordan, do a lot of different places in Middle East where you can float in the Dead Sea. You can go to Petra. We do a camel ride through the desert, all the traditional experiences of the Middle East. And we also do the Inca's Footstep hike, which is a 3-day hike that goes all the way to Machu Picchu, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. So we follow the steps of the Inca tribe that they would do all the way to the Sun Gate, which is it's the best view of Machu Picchu, and you can only get there by hiking. You can't take the bus there. You've got to hike to the Sun Gate. So once we get there, it's the most amazing view you've ever seen in your life. I will never forget when I first walked over that after 2 days of hiking, and finally seeing Machu Picchu. And to know that these people would do that multiple times a day to bring food. And it took me 2 full days to do it. It blew my mind. But Peru was incredible. The food was really good there. Best South American food that I've ever had, and just an amazing traditional culture that the Peruvians have. So in addition to all those places, we have a ton of tours in India. We do in Africa, we do South Africa, we do Tanzania, Namibia, Kenya, and then into Asia, we do Sri Lanka, we do India, Japan, China, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos. We do St. Lucia as well. We have some hot sun destinations. And we do so many different countries in Europe. So like some of the ones that are really coming up on the rise right now are Malta, Crete, Greece, some of the places that are a little bit further to get to than your traditional Italy or Croatia experiences. So that is my presentation. That's what I've got for you today. I hope I was able to inspire you about some different destinations or travel styles. I really wanted to just tell you a little bit more about Just You and what it's like to be a solo traveler on a tour with other like-minded people. When you go there, you make new friends, you meet new people, and it's really, our slogan says it all, where it's a solo adventure together. So hopefully you check out our website or you talk to Leah afterwards if you have any questions. We'll open it up for questions now while I'm here, but if you think of something later, just let Leah know and we'll make sure we get you the answer.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, thank you so much, Nick. That was really a thorough, you could almost picture being on the tour with you there in Italy. I'm wondering, I have a question, maybe while others are thinking if they have any questions that they want to type in the chat box or just unmute yourself and feel free to ask. But in Italy, I noticed you guys stayed in the same hotel for all 7 nights, which is so nice. That's what most people like about cruising or going to one destination and just exploring the local area. But it seemed very central, so you could do that. Are most of the land tours that Just You offers, are they mostly like that? Like when you went to South Africa, was it the same?
No, so that tour was part of our leisurely touring line with
Okay,
just
yeah.
one or two hotels. Like we have over 20 tours in Italy on their own. So we have a tour that does Venice, and then it does Rome for a couple nights, and then it does Florence for a couple nights. And in South Africa, we stayed a few nights in Johannesburg, and then we drove to Kruger National Park, where we stayed in the five-star huts on the national park. And then we flew to Cape Town and stayed there for a few nights. So every tour is different. We have some tours where you're staying in multiple hotels, and some of them where you're staying in one hotel and you do excursions every day from there. So really depends on what your style of travel is.
Okay, was the one that you did in South Africa, would that be classified as an active tour, or what was that one under?
That one was a classic tour.
Okay.
There wasn't any hiking involved in it, and there were no real active experiences on that tour. So yeah, like it definitely felt adventurous because you're taking the 4x4 safari jeeps for the day, and it's not like a tour you would be doing in Italy. But we had a person on that tour who was 85 years old, all the way to somebody who was 25 years old. So it's yeah, it would, that one would be fine for anybody to go on, whether you wanted active or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good to know. Well, it doesn't look like there's any other questions. If you have a question still, feel free to pipe in. You can just unmute yourselves if you'd like, or type it in the chat box. But yeah, definitely South Africa is on my list, my bucket list, after reading Nelson Mandela's A Long Walk to Freedom, his autobiography. That was amazing.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about seeing his home and walking in his footsteps, that would be really interesting.
Yeah, it was such an experience. And I mean, like, you know, he just died recently, and a lot of that history is so recent. We were all alive during it, so it doesn't really feel like history. But when you're there and you see what happened just so recently, it really blows your mind. I mean, like, a lot of it was new for me. I didn't know a lot about that before I went there. So I mean, I tried to do research before, but most of it was new, and I was just so shocked at how amazing it was, and how recent it was.
Right. Guylaine is wondering, are there any destinations or tours that you offer in Eastern Europe or in Iceland?
Yes, we do. So we actually just launched a new Iceland tour, where we don't do the full circle. There's a road, the Ring Road, I believe it's called, in Iceland, where you start in Reykjavik and you make your way all the way around. So we go about halfway through, and then we come back. And we visit Vik, Akureyri. There's a few different places that I can't pronounce, but it's a new tour. We do offer Iceland. And in Eastern Europe, yes, we do. So, I mean, it depends really how far east, but we have a tour called A Journey Through the Baltics, which I would say is probably our most Eastern European tour. And then we do like the Prague, Budapest, and we have a tour in Romania, in Transylvania as well. So depending on how far east you want to go, if you just went onto our website and you typed in Eastern Europe, you'll be able to see all the different tours that we consider Eastern Europe.
Okay, that's great. And Cheryl comments that she just loves the idea that there's no single supplement, which is great. Yeah, I like that idea too. You can have your own room. You can go with a girlfriend even, not share a room, and not have to pay the extra because you aren't sharing. So you're not punished for having your own room and your own space. And yeah, you can, it's a great way, I also think, to travel with a parent. Maybe someone has their, you know, a dad or a son and mother or something like that, where they can go on the trip together, have separate rooms, and still enjoy the tour and have their own space. So when they've had enough of each other, they can hide away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we do get that, where like a mother-daughter trip, but they want to have their own room at the end of the night. And yeah, we more than accept them on our tours too. And we find it's a great way for families to travel solo, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Solo, but yet together. I like that. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Nick, for joining us tonight from Toronto. And everyone else that joined us on the line, we have coming up on, what is it, Thursday today. So next Tuesday, we are going to be joined by Lori with La Boat Holidays. So we're looking forward to that. She's going to talk about the Rideau Canal. It's where you can captain your own boat, go with a family, go with a number of friends. And they also offer tours in Europe down all the European rivers, but we might focus a little bit on North America and Canada. And then next Thursday night, we are talking all about Scotland with Jonathan again. So yeah, we'll be announcing a group trip then. So stay tuned, watch your inbox for information on how to sign up for that. Have a great night, everyone. Take care.
Everyone. Stay safe and have a good weekend.
Yes. Take
Bye.
care. Have a great rest of your week, Nick.
Bye. You too.
Bye-bye.